Hello, viewers. Thanks for watching my podcast. My show gives pageant fans and volunteers the opportunity to get to know title holders, as well as gives title holders the opportunity to share their social impact initiatives and what's going on in their lives. My guests today are Miss America's Outstanding Teen 2016, Allie Nault, and author and sociologist Hilary Levey Friedman. Welcome to my show. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you, and it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I'm always curious of how people got involved in pageants, so I'll start with you, Allie. How did you first get involved in pageants?
So in 2002, I met the Miss New Hampshire at the time, Mary Morin, and I instantly fell in love with her kind spirit and dedication to the community. And she became a role model for me and actually attended my 5th birthday party. Ooh. And I knew from then that I was hooked on the program. My parents began volunteering. And then the Miss America's Outstanding Teen program started. Right. And I knew that when I was eligible, I wanted to compete, which was the age of 13.
Okay.
And when I was 13 years old, that's when I was able to start competing. So I actually never competed in any other pageant system. I was always only a part of the Miss America organization because I truly loved their mission and what they stood for, of providing scholarships for women and opportunities that would further expand and help develop communities.
Very cool. And how many times did it take you to, how many times did you compete before you won Miss New Hampshire's Outstanding Teen?
So it took me all 4 years. Oh. And it was my last year of eligibility that I actually won the state pageant. So for girls who feel like, you know, it's the end of the road, never feel like it's the end of the road. It happens at the time that it's supposed to for you.
You know, so many people have stories like that. Like it took so many, you know, their last year of eligibility or something like that. So I'm glad that you stuck with it. So Hilary, you're the author of Here She Is, The Complicated Reign of the Beauty Pageant in America. Your mom was Miss America Miss America 1970. So what was it like having a mother who was Miss America?
Well, first of all, it's like I joke that the rhinestones and the sequins and the sparkles are in my DNA, even though I myself have never competed in a pageant. So on the one hand, it was, you know, super fun because if we went to a pageant, I got to go backstage and see that part of it that not everybody gets to see. I got to go to the Miss America pageant when I was young, which was really formative for me. And probably the biggest thing was that every year they send the former Miss Americas or forever Miss Americas the program book. And so I would get to study it and make my own top 10 and predict who was going to win. So I've definitely always had a strong interest in Miss America. Now, I also learned how to do my hair really big, because that was big for Miss America 1970, or wear a dark lipstick or that sort of thing. So that's more the superficial. More seriously, I learned about public speaking because I got to see my mom do that, and the importance of being engaged in your community.
That's very cool. So it almost sounds like you got the benefits of competition without actually competing. I do have a 10-second clip of your mom getting crowned. I would like to play that, and then I want to ask you, you know, why you never got into it yourself. But here is the crowning moment of Miss America 1970.
The second runner-up is Kathy Lynn Bauer, Miss Ohio, and the winner is Miss Michigan,
So I'm just curious, Hilary, like, why do you think you never competed yourself?
Well, let me first say something about that clip. So it still gives me a little goosebumps when I see it. And I think that because it's the moment when someone's life changes forever. Like the whole trajectory of their life is now different, and you don't often get a front row seat to see that in someone's life. And I think that's why those crowning moments from pageants, you know, sometimes they're parodied, sometimes people make fun of them, but really it's this like amazing thing to see someone's life change like in a second. So I know I can see that. You know, I wish we still wore those long gloves too. I think they're very elegant. But, you know, my mom always said to me, I was about 9, and we had gone to a child beauty pageant, and at the end I turned to her and I said, hey, I think I could do that. And she gave me the best advice she's ever given me, which was, I need to find my own path, because I could do a pageant and I could deserve to win, but maybe not win because she was my mom, or maybe I won and people would say I didn't deserve to win because she was my mom. And so I think that was like really excellent advice in general. Of course, here I am, I've written a book about beauty pageants, so it stayed a part of my life. And I'm sure if when I was in college or in my 20s, I had like really, really wanted to pursue that, she would have been supportive. But for me, I just chose a slightly different path.
That's very cool. She said, find your own path. That's very interesting advice. Speaking of crowning moments, Allie, I have your Miss New Hampshire crowning moment. So I would like to play that, and then I want to ask you some questions. So here is the crowning moment of Allie Nault when she was crowned Miss New Hampshire's Outstanding Teen.
So the next name that I announce will be the 2015 Miss New Hampshire Outstanding Teen. Let's hear it for Allie Nault!
So, Allie, I'm always curious to know what people are thinking and feeling in those moments. I know you tried for 4 years. What were you thinking and feeling in that moment?
Well, it's funny because that night was interesting in New Hampshire. There was a huge snowstorm, and a lot of people actually couldn't make it to the pageant. So the room was very sparse with people.
Oh.
There was such a large storm. And so I actually could see where my family was sitting. So I saw where my grandma was. I saw where my mom and dad were. And, those were just a handful of people who were there in the audience, but I could really see everyone's face. And it was such a special moment because I'm an ugly crier, and so is my grandma. And so I pointed to someone, and I was pointing at my grandmother because she was just beside herself in the audience. And she was in her 90s at the time. She's passed away now. And she was just shaking with joy. She was so happy, and it was such a special moment to share with her. And so that was the first thing that went through my head, was seeing my family and their happiness and excitement. My dad was crying, and my mom, you could tell she was freaking out because she didn't know what was next, which is always my mom's MO. So that was funny. But for me, I didn't really have much going through my head. I was really just shocked because I didn't even make top 5 the year before. So
wow.
to even be standing in the top 2, I was so happy. And so then to hear my name called and just to see my family, it was just such a special moment I'll never forget.
It's funny you say you're an ugly crier. I've interviewed title holders before, and they said that they had, they're crying, and then it's a thought that comes like, wait, I gotta be pretty. Somebody told me that, like, she's like, oh, I gotta pull it together because I gotta be pretty, All right, so
yeah, I don't pull it together. Whatever.
So Hilary, tell us about your book. What is the premise of your book?
So Here She Is really uses beauty pageants to tell the story of the American woman from the 19th century to the present. So, beauty pageants are not separate from feminism. They've been tied together. And it's really exciting to be able to offer a different perspective, both because I'm a very active feminist organizer and I'm a professor, but I also have this connection to the beauty pageant world. And so I really thought I could offer a unique perspective.
Right. I've seen videos online, and it's interesting because many people connect beauty pageants to pop culture, what's popular at the moment, like the first Miss America, like this is what women were like at this moment. So it's almost like on some level beauty pageants serve as like a timeline of, what's hot, what should women look like. I know that they used to do like measurements and things like that in Miss America, like put their measurements and stuff. Like they're this tall and this Yeah, and I want to pick your brain some more because feminists have protested the pageant too. So what is that like for you, being a feminist and then being like someone who supports pageants at the same time?
So I think obviously in the second wave of feminism, I mean, one of the foundational events of second wave feminism occurred outside the Miss America 1969 pageant, which was September 1968. And so second wave feminism has always had a much more complicated relationship with beauty pageants. For myself, I really identify as a third wave feminist. And so to me, feminism is about making sure women have the opportunity to pursue whatever path they want. Right. And that could be being a doctor. So women used to be barred from medical school. I mean, until very recently, women were barred from combat positions in the military. So like, that's not okay. But we also should not say it's a negative or it's not an acceptable choice for a woman to choose to wear a bathing suit in public or stay at home or, whatever those choices are. To me, those are all equally valid, and we need to make sure that women have the opportunity to pursue whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and we're going to come back to that after I ask Allie the question, because of course Miss America has gone through many changes lately, and Swimsuit was eliminated, and there's been conflicting ideas among fans, even former Miss Americas. And I know Cara Mund is someone you talk to, and I think she supported Swimsuit. Like, she's like, a woman can be smart and beautiful and all that. So we'll come back to that. Allie, I'm curious. How did you prepare for Miss America's Outstanding Teen? Because you won, of course. You won Teens in Action, and you won Evening Gown and On Stage Question. So you must have done something right. How did you prepare? Did you have somebody helping you, or how did you prepare?
So it's interesting. I probably have the most different approach out of anyone you've ever been able to talk to. I never actually had a pageant coach. I never had someone who was telling me how to walk or talk or turn. And I don't believe in them. I think that what's so great about pageants is there's so many volunteers with so many different outlooks. And I would always listen to the feedback that volunteers and directors would give me, but I'd always follow my heart at the end of the day. And what I think is so important is to remember that you're not preparing for a pageant. The pageant doesn't really matter. What you're preparing for is a lifetime of success when you go through pageantry. And part of what makes people successful when they compete is kind of like what makes a business successful. So I actually looked at Miss America's Outstanding Teen differently when I finally had the opportunity to go and compete. And I thought of it as a business. And I was the business, and I wanted to have the best business model or business plan to win the pageant. And that's actually how I went about preparing. So instead of worrying about having the best walk on stage, I worried about having the best platform, because that's what I was passionate about. I worried about wanting to ensure that I was doing as much as I could as an individual to give back to my community, and made sure that I funneled that information to the judges in a way that they'd understand that I was dedicated to everything that I was doing. And I think that once people stop thinking about, I'm just trying to win this weekend, to this is a lifetime of learning, and this is a lifetime of success. And you're a business, and you're promoting yourself in a way that's promoting others more than yourself. That's when you'll win. It's not about you, it's about others. Once you start thinking of others first and what you can give to them, that's when you're a successful title holder.
Very cool. It sounds like you were more preparing for the job of Miss America's Outstanding Teen and not just the show. And I think that was very insightful of you. Miss America 2010, Caressa Cameron, she said so similar things. She called it like a shopping cart method, like everybody has advice, but she was like, you have to stay true to yourself, and you can take bits and pieces of what people say. So yeah, very interesting. I want to play your Miss America's Outstanding Teen crowning moment. I have that video, and then we're going to talk about some of the changes to Miss America and feminism. So here is the crowning moment of Miss America's Outstanding Teen 2016, Allie Nault.
The 11th Miss America's Outstanding Teen is New Hampshire's outstanding teen, Allie Nault!
That's the power of a dream. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? That's the power of a dream. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I was born down by the railroad tracks. No fancy clothes to put on my back. Couldn't imagine what I was going to be. I just couldn't say it, but my mama.
So Allie, once again, that moment, what's going through your head? You're up there in the finals and they call your name. How do you feel?
Well, this time was a little bit different than at the state pageant. I was truly, truly, truly shocked. And I honestly thought there was a mistake because they made a mistake with the crown. They actually called another girl as the winner and then said, oh, wait, we messed up. The actual winner is.
Right.
Called my name. So I really thought there was a mistake. I really thought they screwed up. And it was a moment where I had a lot of challenges coming from my state. A lot of people told me I couldn't do it. A lot of people didn't believe in me. Mm-hmm. And so in that moment, you know, I didn't actually believe it was real because I just felt like there were so many times when I was told this wasn't possible. I was told one time that they had sent who they thought was going to win last year, the year before me, and she didn't make it. So why would I make it?
Oh, wow.
And so going through that and then actually being up there and, you know, you're not holding hands. It's not a top two. You're just looking around. And, you know, I really got to know the girls for a week and all of them were exceptional. And I just thought, yeah, it wasn't my time. Wow. And so to hear that it was actually, it felt like, oh my gosh, something actually went right. I could not believe it. And, you know, I still can never believe it today that I had the opportunity that I did with Miss America's Outstanding Teen to travel to states and reach out to so many people and have that platform and that audience to speak to. So I'm always just so thankful for the opportunity that the judges awarded me with believing in me.
Right. When I watch it, I can see you're just in shock, like complete shock. But I think you can be an inspiration to many others. You know, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And I know certain states, you know, you have certain states that wins more often than others. And, you know, New Hampshire, you're representing them. But, you know, you can just be an inspiration to others that shows anything is possible. Anything is possible. And like I said, when I was, you know, researching for this, you blew me away. So you just got to know how amazing you are. You really are. So Miss America has had many changes throughout its history. And within the last few years, one of the changes has been the elimination of swimsuit. And this question can be for both of you, but I'll start with Hilary. How did you feel about the elimination of this lifestyle and fitness category, especially relating to feminism? How did you feel about that?
So on the one hand, I think that this change was a really long time coming. In the late 90s, there'd been a phone-in vote during the live telecast for people to decide if they wanted to continue to support swimsuit. Of course, swimsuit had been one of the sticking points for feminist protests for many years. Right. On the other hand, the moment it happened, of course, in the wake of Me Too and Gretchen Carlson coming in, again, was not that surprising. But announcing it in June when state winners had already been selected, like, for instance, I know Miss New Hampshire had already been picked, you know, and swimsuit had been part of the competition. So that was, I think, a big shock to people within the system because it was like, it's out now. It's not like it's out next year. At this moment, you know, you might be picking a state winner next week, but, you know, and you have swimsuit as part of the competition, but, you know, at Miss America, it's not going to be included. So I think that was a surprise. And then also just to tie this to the Miss America's Outstanding Teen conversation, you know, there's never been swimsuit with MAOTeen since it started in 2005, but there's always been a fitness portion. Right. And so never before in American history has women's physical abilities been as embraced and celebrated as they are now. You know, of course, we got Title IX in the 1970s, but we're really seeing the fruits of that legislation now, and women's competitive ability athletically is lauded, and, you know, female athletes get lots of attention. So to completely eliminate something, a portion of the competition, which is, you know, supposedly supposed to be about fitness and what a body can do and not just about how it looks, completely, I think, missed the mark a little bit. So I would have liked to have seen some fitness component remain. America's Junior Miss, Distinguished Young Woman, does that as well.
Cool. Allie, do you have any thoughts about the fitness portion being eliminated from Miss America competition?
Hilary, you always say things so perfectly. That's why we're friends. But for me, as a woman who never had to compete in swimsuit, thankfully, I'm so glad there's no pictures of me out there in my swimsuit.
Yeah.
I think I wear a swimsuit maybe once or twice a year. So it's not really a reflection of who I am or what I do every day.
Right.
And what always scared me is I work in the restaurant business, which is really male dominant.
Right.
And being a manager, being a sommelier, being in a position of power, for me, thinking about the fact that one of my employees could have a picture of me in a swimsuit in their locker scares me. So I'm a very, you know, private person. I have social media. It's private. I couldn't ever imagine myself getting on stage in a swimsuit, not because I'm self-conscious, but because it's just not my goal. That's not my intention. That's not how I want people to see me. So I was actually very excited when I saw the elimination of the swimsuit portion, but I agree with Hilary. There should still be a fitness component, just like what the Miss America's Outstanding Teen program is doing with the physical fitness portion. I mean, I did push-ups on stage. Is there anything more empowering than to show that women are strong in that way? I'm 90 pounds and I was pushing my weight. Like, that's exciting. That's empowering. That's what fitness is all about.
Right. And I think you just kind of led to my next question, because last week I interviewed Miss America 2013, Mallory Hagan, or 2 weeks ago, something like that. And she said that she supports a fitness component, you know, but she said that she wishes that the ladies weren't judged for it. But what are your ideas on having a fitness component, you know, but not being judged on their appearance? Or do you think they should go do what the teens are doing? What are your thoughts? Both of you, anyway, first.
Hilary, do you want me to go or do you want to go?
You start first with this one, because I started first last time.
Okay, sounds good. So for me, physical fitness is what I do at work every day. I put in tons of steps. So I think physical fitness should be what the lady would like to present herself doing. And so for me, if they said, go show how you're physically fit, I would grab a tray and I would grab 10 martini glasses and I would go running out with my 10 martini glasses on a tray, because that is physical fitness, that is balance, that is grace, that is agility. And so there's nothing else that would top that moment, I feel like, but I don't think that will ever happen. So for physical fitness, what should it be? Honestly, I don't know. But I know that that's what I would show, that how I'm physically fit.
Okay. What do you think, Hilary?
So I think that the way MAOTeen and Distinguished Young Woman does it right now, obviously it actually is really hard. I think the Distinguished Young Woman one, like, they're on stage for 10 minutes, like doing aerobics. And it's a really hard routine. But obviously that does give somewhat of an advantage to dancers, because there's this like performative component and like do have rhythm because the music is on. So Miss Earth and Miss World have done these like more like obstacle courses, and the time in which you complete it is part of your score. And so that would be another way to do it. I mean, I do have to say, though, that I could see a counter argument, which is that let's say there's someone who wants to compete at Miss America someday whose body is differently abled, or you know, someone has a disability, and you know, there's no reason why someone who's in a wheelchair shouldn't be able to compete at Miss America, or someone who's missing a limb or part of a leg. And so that would perhaps be a disadvantage. But if, like Allie said, you get to choose how to do it, I mean, my goodness, the strength of someone in a wheelchair, their arm strength, they do marathons and swim, all those sorts of things. So I do think that's a more complicated question, but at the same time, you need to be able to show it. I would love to see a talent someday. I mean, I've judged pageants like someone coming out and like juggling a soccer ball for a minute and 30 seconds or doing cool dribbling, or how many free throws can you make. I think there's lots of different ways to define talent today.
Yeah.
And those should be incorporated in, and it shouldn't, just be a performative talent. Although I will say, I have to, if no one has seen Allie Nault's baton twirling talent, and especially her walk down the long runway in Atlantic City juggling batons, like, you are missing out, because that is real talent.
Well, I have done polls online. Most people do want swimsuit there, or some kind of fitness component. But since we're talking about talent, Allie, I have your talent video. And when I was watching, I emailed you and I was like, wow, I love baton twirling, but I love seeing you baton twirling. So we're going to watch your video, and then you can tell us how long you've been doing it, how did you prepare and all that stuff. So here is the talent video of Miss America's Outstanding Teen 2016, Allie Nault. So, Allie, you won Teens in Action. You won Evening Gown, On Stage Question. I could have easily have seen you winning talent too. So, just tell us, how long have you been twirling? Who helped you come up with that routine?
So that was actually the routine that I did at Miss America when, after I had won, they invited me to perform.
Oh.
And I will say, if you're ever wondering, the runway is not as big as it seems.
Okay.
I was petrified twirling down the runway because I thought I was going to fall off the runway.
Oh, goodness.
So that was quite an experience. That's why I actually traveled on the side, because I couldn't physically move forward because I was afraid that I would fall off the side of the runway.
Oh, wow.
So that's just a little fun fact if you're ever wondering about the runway. But I was a baton twirler with a group called the Red Stars in Derry, New Hampshire. And I started baton twirling when I was 4 years old, and I would practice many times a week. And I always really enjoyed the sport. I loved the people that I was able to meet through it. And the opportunities that I had to travel. I got to twirl on the Great Wall of China, at the Queen's Balmoral Estate, on a Carnival cruise line, which was always rewarding, and it gave me something to constantly work towards when I was younger. I don't twirl today. I will not come out of retirement. I enjoy retirement.
You twirl wine bottles.
Yes, I do. I twirl wine bottles now in the middle of a restaurant. Thankfully, they're not on fire, like batons are sometimes. But I would always do improvising, so I never actually had a routine. I would just go out there and just go for it, which would scare my coaches and scare my mom and scare everyone who knew that. But it's what made the performance exciting for me, because I had twirled for so long. There was no longer a rush of adrenaline or excitement for me, and the only way that I would feel a touch of excitement was by improvising. That's why I would always just wing it and hope it went well.
Wow. I love baton twirling. Victoria Maiden from Virginia, she was a baton twirler. Danae Couch from Texas. Also, Miss Missouri, Simone Esters, is a good baton twirler. And I and many others were so shocked because in the last competition, you know, it was dark and they actually weren't able to practice on the stage that they performed on that night. So we were like, wow. But she still did a good job. So Hilary, you seem so knowledgeable. Like, you have a background in pageants and things like that. Have you ever thought about getting involved with the Miss America organization, like on the board, or, you know, like some kind of consultant or something like that? Because you seem like you have so many ideas and a good perspective.
Well, that's the kind of thing to be on the board where they want you to do it, you know, you're asked. But I will say that I've been a judge. I actually judged Miss America's Outstanding Teen a few years ago. I've judged Miss New Jersey. I was a judge the year that Kara McCollum won, who she tragically passed away a little over a year later. So that really, honestly, like, personally impacted me and made me feel even more connected to the program in Miss New Jersey in particular. So I think that there are good sides of Miss America, and there are parts that could use some work. And I think that's true for almost everything in life and for, you know, other pageants, not just Miss America. But I do think whatever people say, and I'm sure you've seen the John Oliver thing about the scholarship money, and do they really give that much out? But the reality is that the Miss America organization still is the largest source of scholarship money for women in the country today. And, you know, until something else comes along, which, you know, it might, we need to embrace that and use it as an opportunity to focus on education for women and career opportunities. And I hope that will continue. And again, it may change shape. And does that mean it will always be on television? I'm not so sure. And I joke that the Rhodes Scholarship, no one would say that that's not super duper important, but those are long interviews. And would people want to watch that on television? Probably not, because it's not entertainment to most people. But that doesn't mean the program and the scholarship isn't worthwhile.
Right. Yeah. Miss America is amazing. You know, women earn scholarships. They earn the interview skills. You know, I think that's priceless, the interview skills. And I hope it does remain on TV. You know, I hope they find a way to just make it really interesting, but still to do the job that they wanted to do. Allie, you won Teens in Action. So can you talk about your platform or social impact initiative that helped you win that award?
Yes. So my platform is, well, it was and still is, I still work with it today, is Making Sense, growing up to be financially responsible. And I talked about financial literacy and the importance of saving money and budgeting. And I created a program where students were able to bank right at school in pre-K and kindergarten. So starting young and starting that foundation of understanding the importance to save. I also had coin booklets that held $5 worth of quarters. It was a way to put a quarter in each day as maybe a chore or maybe finding money on the street. And it wasn't the concept of saving a lot of money and being well off one day, but it's the idea and the fundamentals of understanding the importance to save that I really wanted to stress to kids. And that evolved actually when I was Miss America's Outstanding Teen. I was able to also speak with the presidential candidate, since it was during 2016, about the national debt, which was something that affects our generation, is really part of fiscal responsibility of our country and something that's going to affect our generation. So I've really enjoyed being able to speak to every single presidential candidate, both Republican and Democratic, about what their plan was, and being able to bring that back to the viewers of not only the Miss America's Outstanding Teen Organization, Miss America program, but I was also able to be on Fox News, ABC, NBC, quoted in CNN multiple times for the interviews that I had with the candidates. And that was something that was exciting, that then also propelled into another thing that I'm passionate about, which is getting young people to vote. So I got to work with Rock the Vote campaign. So I think that something that's important to remember is, you know, your social impact, or whatever they call it nowadays, platform. I'm old school.
Right.
Your platform is ever evolving and ever changing. And so it's important to not just pigeonhole yourself into thinking this is what the plan is, because if you told me I was going to be talking to presidential candidates about the national debt, that was never anything that I ever imagined doing. But I'm so glad that I did, and I hope that it made a little bit of a difference in someone's life. And today I'm still a part of Jumpstart, which is a financial coalition that helps students that are K through 12. I was their youngest board member ever on the Rhode Island board, and also nationally, and I was also their keynote speaker. And I really enjoy being able to set up resources for students and teachers in Rhode Island to talk about the importance of financial literacy, since it's actually mandated in the state of Rhode Island that students must take a financial literacy course before graduating in high school, which should be mandated across the board, because it is important for students to have that access to knowledge, because it is a skill that's needed for the rest of life.
I think financial literacy is so important. I know when I was in college at the University of Michigan, like you walk outside and there's like all these credit card companies and they're like just giving out credit cards to kids. And you know, college kids don't really have money and they're like, oh, cool, a credit card. And you're just putting yourself in debt right there at the age of 18. Like, I think they almost baited us to do that, you know, like come get these credit cards. And so I think that's great. And then the voting thing, you know, I think young people are interested in politics, but I believe that that's the lowest demographic when it comes to actually going to the polls. And I think that's why certain, you know, politicians have support from young people, but, you know, like the young people don't actually go out. So I think that's amazing that you work in that area. And I hope that demographic will start to actually get up and actually go.
Yeah, our generation, you know, my generation can actually decide the election this year.
Right.
And so it's so important that we use our voice and we go and vote, because if not, you know, they can't complain. If you don't vote, you don't use your voice, then
Right.
you can't say that you're unhappy with the results of the election.
Yeah. Hilary, Miss Ohio 1991, Renee Arthurson Brown, she writes online, she loves your book. She loves it. She can't put it down. What are you hoping that people will take from it or learn from it? What is your central message or theme of your book?
Well, I think obviously the people who already are interested in pageants, I hope that they learn something new from it that they didn't know before, and that something resonates about their own experience.
Okay.
I think for those outside of the pageant world, I do want to show that, you know, pageants are not, at any level, are not all black and white. They're complicated, and you can criticize the systems that might make women feel like they're judged only on their appearance, or you know, treat women as objects, but for individuals who compete, they have many different reasons to do it. So it really is a more nuanced take, and hopefully too, anyone who's outside of pageants will read it and say, wow, I really learned a bunch of different things, and also that it will help make them make connections in their own lives. I kind of joke that anybody who watches The Bachelor, which is like millions and millions of people, they're actually a really good target audience for this book, because The Bachelor's kind of the new Miss America, if we're being honest.
Right. Yeah, I've seen people like criticize Miss America, and I've always wondered why. Like, why would some news commentator, like, why would this person just criticize the Miss America program? Like you said, nothing is perfect, but I think that the benefits, you know, far outweigh, you know, any negatives or areas of criticism.
Not for everybody who chooses to compete, but certainly for some people.
Okay.
And you know, you think about how many people compete. It's the same thing like how many kids play Little League but don't make it to Major League Baseball. And, you know, everyone celebrates Tiger Woods. Oh, my gosh, she started at 3. Well, you know, how many of those kids like didn't make it, and what are the consequences?
Right.
So it's easier to hold up people who are successful. But you might not win that crown, but you're still winning. I mean, New Hampshire in particular gives so much scholarship money every year to many of the contestants, not just the winner. And so, you know, you might come in first runner-up, second runner-up, third runner-up for a few years, and you've accrued a lot of opportunities as well, like scholarship money as well.
Yeah.
So, can I add to that?
Sure.
Do you mind?
Go ahead.
So for the Miss America's Outstanding Teen program, we have what's called in-kind scholarships.
Okay.
And for instance, the University of Alabama actually gives a full ride. Did you hear that? Full ride to their
4 years.
University. Yeah, all 4 years. And as long as you meet the grade requirement. And I mean, the women who compete in these pageants, yeah, probably 95% of them meet the grade requirement.
Yeah.
And it is just so incredible to think you may never win a national pageant. You may not place. And that is fine because you're going to college for free.
Yeah.
And so many women every single year take advantage of this scholarship opportunity. And it's incredible to see how many women end up at the University of Alabama from Miss America's Outstanding Teen and actually create a sisterhood there.
Wow.
And so that's just one school. There are over 20 schools who are involved in this scholarship program. So it's not just cash scholarships, it's scholarships to also go to a 4-year university and maintain a degree and not have to put a hand in your pocket and spend anything.
Yeah, there's a school in
That's life-changing.
Right. There's a school in Virginia, I was going to say, who gives a full scholarship automatically to the person who wins Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen. And like you said, that's life-changing. That's amazing. Like, okay, you win, you can go to college for free and get a degree for free. That's amazing. Allie, you are continuing your work. Like you said, you'll do it forever. So my question is, do you think you'll compete in the Miss category one day? Do you think you ever want to try?
No. I work full time.
Okay.
I work at the Inn at Little Washington, which is a Forbes 5-star, AAA 5-diamond, and Michelin 3-star restaurant. I work there 6 days a week. And there's no time. I also just opened up a pizza and wine shop with my boyfriend in Middleburg, Virginia.
Okay.
So it's a retail wine shop and takeout pizza place. And that's where my heart is. At the end of the day, competing for a pageant in the grand scheme of where our world is with the pandemic, it just doesn't seem genuine for me at all. And I never really had the intention to go back and compete. People always said, once you're crowned, oh, this is the, the top most exciting moment of your life. This is your peak. And for me, I am doing everything that I can to prove that that was not my peak in life at 17, 18 years old to win a pageant.
Yeah.
It was what allowed me to plateau my career and be successful. And going back and putting in a lot of effort, time, money, when I have no student loans, it just also seems kind of selfish to take the money away from women who actually need it. I was awarded $98,000. I was able to pay for college. I sit here in my apartment, debt-free from school, and changed my life. But, I'm able to afford moving down here to Virginia after college because of it. And so I would never think to want to compete again and take those resources from women either.
Oh my God.
But don't think when she was a student in Rhode Island that I was not telling her that she should compete in Miss Rhode Island. Because of course, Rhode Island has never had a Miss America winner. We have had a Miss USA and then a Miss Universe, Olivia Culpo, but no Miss Rhode Island America has taken the top crown. So there was a bit of an effort to get Allie,
right?
Student to compete.
And a lot of people have pressured me, but I don't bend to pressure. So.
Yeah, I told you when I was getting ready for this, I'm like, this girl is amazing. Like I could just see her winning, and Hilary said, a lot of those New England states haven't had a Miss America, so I mean, I would love to see you as Miss America.
It's okay. We're going to see her on the Food Network or something with her own show someday. So we have not heard the last of Allie Nault. Trust me.
I put on a show every single night at the Inn at Little Washington. You're welcome to come. I'd love to serve you.
I think I just have maybe one or two more questions for both of you. So Hilary, you are knowledgeable about so many pageant systems. You've mentioned a few. How do you compare them, or do you have? I guess you would imagine there's benefits to both or all of them. Miss USA, Miss America, Distinguished Young Women. How do you compare them?
Well, obviously, Miss America is the gold standard pageant. It's been around the longest. It's the one that people sort of define themselves in opposition to, or we're like that. So Miss USA is obviously, I say, like the first runner-up. Second runner-up is like Distinguished Young Woman, America's Junior Miss America's Outstanding Teen. But the fact of the matter is that there are thousands and thousands of pageants that occur every year in this country. Some of them are very small, some are in rural communities, some are at, regional festivals. And anybody who's competing in those pageants, they want to win. Right. So to whoever is participating, that's the most important pageant that they are in their lives. And I think that's important to recognize. I also think that a lot of the specialized pageants that perhaps have a different message are really important. There's a documentary, so you can learn more about the Miss Navajo pageant, for example, in which the contestants need to be able to speak the Navajo language, which has been in decline. And so it's part of maintaining the culture. You actually have to be able to kill a live animal, skin it, and cook it, and that's part of the competition. So that's a little bit different than what you might see at Miss America. And then you can think of, like Miss Black America, which started as a positive protest pageant to say Black is beautiful, and Miss Black America still exists. The current Miss Black America is very involved in politics. So I feel like, her name's Ryan Richardson, I feel like, every pageant has something that can help someone who's participating or has a message about a community and the need to or desire to represent a community or preserve some part of the culture, like Miss Chinatown USA, does something very similar. So if you do want to learn about all these different pageants, I do encourage you to go on Amazon or your local independent bookstore on today that we're recording this is Independent Bookstore Day. So I'd love to hear what people think, and hopefully it expands your views of pageantry in general.
Right. I have a friend, Brittany Lewis. She was Miss Delaware 2014 and she was Miss Black America. And I know people online are reading your book. I've seen people, write about it, and I'll have to get my copy as well. Last question. This is to both of you. We can take Allie first and then Hilary. What advice would you give to girls who are competing today? I know a lot of girls want to, win their state titles and, win Miss America. So just general advice. What advice would you give to those candidates? Allie?
Sorry, did you say me first? You cut out for a second.
I'm sorry. I think I said Allie first.
Okay.
So advice. You probably get advice all the time, so I'm sorry to give you more advice. I know that's like competing in pageants. But I would say follow your heart, because if you follow your heart at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out well, at least you know that you did what you wanted to do on stage and through your whole entire journey of pageants. And to also remember to be genuine, that it's not the minute it's about you is the minute it's going the wrong direction. And the minute it's about everyone else is the minute you'll be successful. And if that makes any sense to you, then you're on the right path.
Very nice. Very nice. And Hilary, what advice would you give girls who are competing today?
I mean, my thoughts are very similar. I think the name of the game is authenticity, and you have to know yourself. And of course, who you are at 17 may not be who you're going to be at 37 or 57. But I think part of what Allie said is really true, what she said earlier about a business plan, but all of this is about knowing who you are and putting the pieces of your life together and maybe like telling a story or constructing a narrative. And I think that that's advice that helps you for a college application. It's something similar that I tell my students at Brown as they're getting ready to go off into the world. Like, well, what's your dream position in life? And like, do you need to do this graduate program or do you need to do this other thing to get there? And if you do, then you should do it. And so I think just being able to put all those pieces together and be authentic is just extremely important in pageants and in life.
Very interesting. Yeah. Many title holders have told me that they felt like while competing, it was like a journey, into self-discovery. And then when they found who they were, that's when they were successful. So I want to thank you for being on my show. I'm going to wrap up with the guests, the viewers, and then I would love to keep you on and talk to you more afterwards. To the viewers, I want to thank you for watching my show. I hope that you enjoyed my show. If you would like to reach out to me, my email address is jasontimothy.robinson@gmail.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook. Also, I believe my next guest will be Miss America 2000 Heather French. So once again, viewers, thanks for watching, and please feel free to support the show, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and once again, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show.